Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of It Pricked. It's a rose by yours truly, none other than Doris Wanyagia. Today is a very good day. I'm excited because I have a very awesome lady. This is one whole package. She's collected everything you want to describe someone you know who is a nice person, who is like elite. This is it. Like, just use those words and let me give you one lady by name Mildred. So I want to give her this opportunity to introduce herself and she can tell us who she is. Welcome, Mildred.
Thank you, Doris. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm also well.
Mhm,
Thank you for having me.
mhm,
So, my name is Mildred Kiora, life enthusiast,
mhm.
digital marketing content writer, and basically a young woman trying to live life.
A young woman trying to live life.
Yeah.
Young woman trying to live life.
Yeah.
Please define yourself as a person without your career, without you being a digital marketer. Please define yourself as a person.
You know, every time I watch your podcast and I see you make people do that, I'm just, oh God. But as a person, I would say, like I said, a life enthusiast. I love to live life, even minus being able to live life because you have the resources, just being able to experience, fully feel life. I love to experience new things. I love to have new dreams every time. Given that you need to keep trying new things every time, so I like to try new things. I like to travel, though we do hope we get to a place where we can travel without looking at your bank balance.
Your bank balance.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just a lover of life. That is the one way I can explain it. Lover of life. Because you said not to use my career, because
Yeah.
that's the trap we all fall into. Like, you ask people what, and you go right into, I do this, I do that, I do that. So I'm
Yeah.
a life enthusiast.
Life enthusiast.
Yeah.
I feel like you still haven't given me what
Oh, no pressure.
what I want. Because
Mhm.
yes, you love to experience new things, you're a life enthusiast, but what does that look for you?
What it looks like for me is
Mhm.
being able to not only dream but actualize. Being able to, there's those little dreams you had, those big dreams or you had as a little girl, and they used to feel like, I'll just use a small analogy. When you were younger and you were, say, in class 8,
Mhm.
and you'd see somebody finishing Form 4, and in your mind you're just thinking, you mean 5 years are going to end? So, but then you came to that point. Here we
Yeah.
are. I mean, it's been years since we left high school. So
Yeah.
for me, it's being able to have dreams, not think of them as too big, because then again, we don't have a small God. So being able to dream and actualize, and praying to God that consistency and discipline live with me for all of
Locates
my
you,
days.
yeah.
For all of my days. Yeah.
Okay, wow, that is nice. Coincidentally, however you've described yourself, I don't know, like if you were thinking in the same line I was thinking, but coincidentally, it's also what we're talking about, like the big dreams and all that. So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about faith, manifestations, and affirmations, all those things as one. Because I've realized a lot of people, some are driven by the things they think about and they come to pass, while some just like wing life through. They don't know. But now I want us to dissect the aspects of faith, manifestations, and affirmations. Okay, they seem like they're rhyming. Faith,
They all intertwine.
yeah, they are
Yeah.
intertwined. So I'm intrigued because you've mentioned that your love of life, you've mentioned that those small dreams you didn't know you get there, now you got there, now you're past there, you're looking forward to other things. So just like want us to deal with the whole bracket of all those things. So I don't know for you, but for me, I've had this ideology of since I was a young girl, I would think of something without planning for it. Okay, not without planning for it, but think of something you want to do. For example, I want to get this grade in my next examination. You probably are used to getting this other grade, but you're sure you don't know how. But you know what, God, lazima ifanyike. Lazima happen. So there's that aspect of like manifestations. Do you believe in manifestations and do you believe they work?
I do believe in manifestation. Maybe it's also because I'm such a planner. I'm trying to let go of too much control in life, but by virtue of being such a liking to plan life, it also goes hand in hand in with manifesting. So definitely from the small things, I think now the hack that I've had to learn over time is start manifesting with those small things. The big things will come, the wealth or the everything, the experiences you think of as the ultimate thing that you want to have experienced by the time it's your end of the end of your time on the earth. But then if you start with the small ones, and then you keep backing them up with action, I think manifestation does work. Then again, you can't go through life, okay, maybe it works for different people. I think there's something you said about, do you wing, you asked me, do I wing life, or do I prefer to have sort of like a plan?
Yeah.
By virtue of my personality, I prefer to plan. The worst thing I can't stand is not having control, not knowing what's going to happen. I'm also one of those girls who, you know how girls love surprises. I do not want them. I like to know that this is what we are doing, this is where I'm going. So I've learned that the hack I've learned is small manifestations that build into the bigger future, into the bigger picture. And it has worked for me because, I mean, like you said, there's those small dreams that I would look at, say, not even that far back, maybe even 5 years, okay, 3 years back, and in my mind I'll just be thinking, but then I've had to learn to stop self-sabotaging and just believe it in your system fully, without a shadow of a doubt it's gonna happen, and then work towards it. I think that's just, I can't say there's a manual. That's just believe, move. The rest will work out.
Okay. There's also the aspect of affirmations. Now, you see, I believe that people are used to like just saying, wacha niamke venye nitaamka, siku iende venye itaenda. But I've come to realize that the moment you find yourself believing that, okay, sawa, I've woken up, today is going to be a good day for me. And I won't take shit for anything less. Like, to a point, anytime I feel like the day is not going as I had anticipated, I'm like, you know what? I'll deal with whatever is happening right now, but best believe my day is going to be okay. Like, I don't let anything stop me from like being that the day is good. And I would say that that has played a major role in who I am becoming, or in who I am at this point in life. But there are people who believe that affirmations are, it's hard to affirm. I get it, because it is hard to affirm. But how do you ensure that you inculcate the belief system of affirming yourself, believing that these things will come to pass, believing that whatever you're doing must work because it will work, and it actually works?
I think for me, I've had to learn flexibility, because, like I mentioned before, I struggle with control. I like to plan to a T, whether it's my day, how it's going to go, or as simple as, I know I can, if you ask me what I'm going to dress on Thursday, nitaenda nikutole. Yes. This is what I will
Today,
wear.
you know what
Yes.
you dress on Thursday.
Yeah, this nitaenda nikutole.
Oh my God.
Because for me, it leaves room for, okay, in as much as we are told that we plan and then God laughs, and not all your plans go as you wish.
Yeah.
But for me, having the plan gives me an ability to, at Ilesa, it won't go the way I want it to. I have a fallback of being able to attack. I won't change fully. I'll just
Teach.
twitch a bit. For me, I need to know. But then it also comes with its cons. Extreme control leaves little room for flexibility, which is what I've had to learn over time. So like you said, you'll wake up and you'll say, today is a good day. I do not care if it's the boss, if it's the tout on the road, if it's whoever. But then at times the devil just wakes up and says, today, this is this one is the one I'm focusing on today. But then the flexibility that I'm learning over time allows me to, okay, fine, it didn't go exactly how I wanted it to go, but what can we do about it? Like you said, what can we actually do about it? So it doesn't become, the kuvunjika kwa mwiko sio mwisho upishi statement. Control initially would make me, okay, tumalizana hivyo, that story is over, we'll do it another day. But then it becomes, you end up having a habit of stopping things halfway, which is not any way to live.
Because of minor inconveniences.
Exactly. So now when I've learned that to have flexibility, I've learned that, fine, it didn't go the way you planned it, but what can you do work with what you have? Whether it's the time you have, work with it. Whether it's resources that you thought you would have had by such a time that you've not acquired yet, work with what you have. As
Yeah.
long as you don't drop the ball.
Yeah.
Fine, itateremka kidogo, but don't drop it. Pick it back up. So flexibility helps for me. I can't say I've hacked it fully, but I'm trying. Yeah.
I think I agree with you, like picking whatever you have to work with you, because I've also learned and realized that people are waiting for things to get better. People are waiting to get that milli to do that big project.
Speak to me directly. That's me.
But if you ask you critically, you at least have something that could start something at this point.
Exactly. I think that's the lesson. You see now what I'm saying? That's the lesson I've had to learn, that okay, fine, you're waiting to have the 100,000 to go for a trip. Can't you do you have 20,000 to go for a shorter trip that will give you the same amount of satisfaction? Start with that, build to the 100 one. So I think that's one thing that you learn over time. It's not just discipline, it's also just remembering that see it won't happen. It will happen. Just stop being so hard on yourself. I think I at times I'm too hard on myself, or I want everything to happen at the same time. But then I think age is also teaching me that it doesn't always. It's not black and white. It's not, and it's also not just gray areas. It's just what I said. This is what you have now. Work with it. Move now.
Itafikisha huko, because you decided like to start with whatever you have. Now with all this, with all the planning, with all the not planning, with all the being stepped on the road by deciding, you know what, this is a good day, you won't stop it, and I'm still proceeding. How now we get to the belief system. Okay, now we were having a conversation with some of my friends a while back, and we were saying how in this current generation of us, like we as young people, there are two categories of people. Like people have learned that there is a God, there is God in heaven, and they believe in God. They don't have even to be going to church, but people are reading their Bibles, they're believing in God. But then there's also the far extreme of people who don't care. You know,
bora nimeamka,
let's move. I don't know your take on this. Like, where do you lie in all this? Which side are you? Like, you don't have to be on a side, but what's your take on religion as a young person and your belief systems intertwined with your manifestations and your goals, and learning to take things slowly at a go?
So for me, like you said, you grow up with religion because it's introduced to you. It's not something you came on this earth ukiwa nayo.
Yeah.
So for most people, we grow up with religion because of what was introduced to us by someone else, our parents, our guardians, school. But then there comes a time where you have to take religion for yourself. Like, what does it mean? What is faith to Doris? Achana na Doris mtoto wa nani? Achana na Doris sister ya nani? Or the girl who used to go to church and was taught teachings. What does God, what does faith mean to you? So I got to that point. I got to that point of, okay, now this is the faith between me and God, up there. Yeah. And I realized that I struggled for a time. I left church. For a time I left church, not because nilikuwa nimekosana na Mungu or nilikuwa nimekosana na the ways of the church, but I needed to, I think I felt it in me that I'd gotten to that point of nenda church juu Sunday you're supposed to go to church. And I started asking those questions of myself. Also, it's tied down with something else that happened to me. So I'll give you a very short not story, just a context of who I am. Growing up, I was never those kids who, I was blessed enough to not be those kids who peer pressure na nipelekanga hivi. I always knew my mind. I knew who I was, like I deep it in my soul. But then I got to that point of 1920 where it hit me. For the first time I asked myself, what do I stand for? Who I am? And it shook me because it was not something I had experienced before. I had grown up being somebody who, some people will like me because of who I am, but others won't like me because they know also it's because of who I am. But then I got to that point of, who am I really? And it also ties down into your faith, because I started now asking God, you gifted me with this ability to know myself, but then I'm getting to this point where it hit me smack in the face. Like, I asked a question I never asked myself, who am I? And so it hit me, and I did this thing where now looking back, I remember just thinking, God must have just been sitting up and said, look at this one. So I got to this point where I told God, Pixis, break kidogo, I'll come back. And I don't know why I thought I could go through life without God. Like I was at that point where I was really struggling with who I am, what I believe in, what I stand for. And then I don't know why, for some reason, as human beings, it's what God has told us since time immemorial. We think we know, but actually we don't. So I got to that point where I was like, God, literally in prayer, I went to God and I told him, I will come back. I promise I will. It's not like I was even asking for permission to go and be a bad person. I don't know why, for some reason I thought I had to find my way on my own. And then you come back and you realize, oh, there's no you without
Shock on
God.
you.
There's no you without God.
Yeah.
So in as far as faith, genuinely right now, I would say I'm coming back into myself, into my beliefs, my belief system. I do believe in religion. I believe my person, the power I look up to is God, of course, the Holy Trinity. Growing up, I had this thing, or at least in my teens, I had this thing where I don't know if it makes sense to you. Tell me if it makes sense to you. I do believe in God and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
But for me, Christianity was just Jesus Christ, and that's him dying for us. That was the one that meant the most for me. Like, if you ask me what does Christianity, at that, say 16, 17, I'd have told you what Christianity means to me, is that somebody came to earth, an earth that he had no business coming to. He didn't have to, but he chose to. But then you realize that there's no one without the three.
Yeah.
All of them work together.
But
So I think
intertwined.
I'm coming back into myself in terms of faith. Now, here's the thing. I know there's a narrative of, you cannot say you love God without loving church. I know. And I've struggled with it myself. So I think I've gotten to that point of, I need to find out what church, I know what faith and God means to me, but I need to find out what church means to me. Because it's not like I don't want to have, I'll not lie, I struggle with church. In the last couple of years, I've struggled with going to church. But I need to find what is it that ilifanya nitoke, so that I can find my way back. Because there was a time I got to a point where I'd go to church because I'd go with two intentions: the reading, the the reading, the preaching, and the music.
Yeah.
Because I grew up Catholic, so we don't have the whole praise and worship experience fully like Protestant churches, but I loved the system of, najua nikienda, we start with the reading, we do this, that process. But then I got to a point where I started wishing for like going to a church, like sit and going to those churches where you just
Like where you
and I feel like my soul is coming alive.
Yeah.
So I think I'm at that point where I want to go. I really genuinely want to go back to church. I just need to understand what church means. I grew up Catholic and I have nothing against it, but I need to find, I don't want to go back to church because I need a new system, a shock to my system that will take me back into, I love that feeling of being at church. But I really hope I get there. I really want to be in church, but I also can pretend to go to church and enjoy it. I know how that sounds. Like a Gen Z. I know there's somebody saying like a Gen Z, but I think you have to struggle, and maybe not for everyone. The people are blessed enough to know what faith means for them throughout the entire life. They never, though I doubt if there's anyone who doesn't get to that point of but I think the fact that I've asked myself those questions, I think when I get to that ultimate point where I want to get to, as far as faith and church is, I think I'll be a better person for having gone through that
all
journey.
Yeah. Okay, I think I also like concur. I grew up Catholic also, but I've gotten to a point where I'm feeling like I want my soul to feel gold. I want to worship. Like, okay, I'm not saying we don't worship.
Exactly. That's why I had to give her, we do pray, but
there's something my soul wants that I don't feel like I'm getting it. I also go to church to enjoy the music. Like, I thrive. I'm never part of any choir, but I thrive in singing. Like, literally, naweza kuwa sijui wimbo, but I swear nitasikiza stanza 1 ishanibamba, so stanza 2 tukiimba I'll be singing along. Because I feel nice. I feel I don't know how to say this. Like, I don't know if there's a word to this, but I feel nice. But I've also gotten to the point whereby God is not church. Church is God.
And that's very controversial, but still.
Yeah. God is not church. It doesn't mean that when I go to church, I'm connected with God.
You could be there just building structure, people, that's it.
Or, I don't know, I don't want to go to church so that when we are done with mass, I can join friends at the youth room we have a conversation, then we head out to sijui Simo, to sijui a hike or something. I don't want that.
Ulterior motives in between and all.
Yeah, I don't want to go to church because there's something driving me at the end of the day. I want to go to church because there's something I'll carry home in my heart.
I think for me it came to a point of I don't want church to feel like a duty.
Yeah.
I want it to feel like it's Sunday, I want to go and get my soul nourished.
Yeah. So last week, I've taken on a new church. Okay, sijahama, watu wakanisa yetu sijahama. Sijahama. I can explain. Sijahama kanisa. But so my church is home. Like my church is home where my mom is. Now see, I don't live at home. So like past few days I haven't been home. But Mimi, when I do my maths, I see it's easier for me to get a church. Just go to church, like a Catholic church. Hata si ati nimeenda a different church, a Catholic church. Go to church. See, I'll have done to my soul the same thing. Then come. So I went the first Sunday. The second Sunday, I decide, hey, Doris, today it's me and the Lord. It's me and the Lord. So hata sivangi dress. I'm not a fan of dresses, so I pick a dress, a nice one. I pick heels, like I just felt like looking nice going to church, like extremely nice. Mimi, I won't lie, I don't put effort in dressing at naenda church. I don't put effort. Jeans, top, twende. In fact, tutapatana na mimi ushangae. Because I believe it's about inside, not outside. But I felt like dressing up and heading to church. So I do that. I headed to church. I went. So kwa hiyo kanisa wameka bana kubwa hapo, mavazi ya kanisa.
That is Catholic churches for you.
Yetu akwangi. Mine at home Rongai.
Ours days. Yeah.
At
hakuna
home.
Ragged, hakuna. They have images, so ukiingia unajiangalia, I'm good.
Rongai, it doesn't work like that. Rongai, like you kuja enda. You'll not even hear someone stand talk about that. Ironically, they don't do that, but people are disciplined. Okay, navanga rugged kanisa, lakini si rugged critical. Lakini people are nice. People are disciplined. They're never told, but they're just okay. So, ninaenda bana kubwa, mavazi yasiyofa kanisa. Yamechorwa. Hey, Doris amevaa dress. Mimi sina shida, nimevaa dress, trench na two heels. Kang. Nimeingia mass tu right on time. Wanaimba hii wimbo ya kwanza. Hii ya kwanza kabisa. Ya kwanza kabisa. So nimeingia na hiyo, nimeomba thanks God. Sijachelewa. So but kuingia hiyo time inamaanisha utakaa mahali si of your choice because kumeja. So me, I sit somewhere near the front. So I'm seated. See, when I sit, I'm in a dress. So inafika somewhere on the upper legs. But mguu huku chini iko nje. Mi niko conscious nimevaa dress. So sitakaa vibaya, si ndio? So the mass proceeded. Tuamaliza mass. Kabla tumalize, tukienda sadaka, a lady approaches me. Ati, mom, unaweza kuja ukae na mimi hapa? Dress yako si mzuri. Like, dress yangu? Unajua how much I decided why
how much thought went into this outfit?
Dress yangu nikajiambia, you see the way I'm saying ati, I tell myself you will not ruin my day. Nikasema I won't get angry.
Narudi kwa hiyo kiti.
No, actually nilihama but nikajiambia I won't get angry. In fact nikikaa na wewe, unajua ukiniambia kitu kama hiyo, like luhudia mimi kushuka dampen my spirit and now start like I decided I won't that. I won't do that. So, mimi, I get back to normal. I move seats, but I get back to normal. Kanisa, they start saying, we said mavazi. Sijui kama ni mimi naongelewa ama ni watu wengine. Lakini haiwezi kwa mimi. Okay, mimi sijui. Haiwezi kwa mimi au wako ameniona. Lakini wanaanza kuongelea mavazi. Me, I'm like, you guys, I think you're doing wrong. Because kama huu mtu amejileta kanisa, it's someone interested in God. Nyinyi mtamchase away.
You know, there's something you mentioned about our generation. And I know we are a controversial generation. I know. But it's like you said, the fact that I may make your effort ya kukuja, I think you know how the noise around it's concentrated more, hiyo ndo inaconcentratiwa more than huyu mtu alikuja.
Yeah.
I mean, can it be a side show yenye utaenda umuite kando?
Yeah.
But to make it an actual, because honestly if I were you I wouldn't even lie me. Hiyo preaching I hope ilikuwa after Bible ilikuwa ishasoma na preaching
Bible ilikuwa ishasoma.
Thank God. Juu mimi hiyo preaching ningegoja tu announcements. But I think it's hiyo judgment is what makes, if you ask me I would say hiyo judgment ndio imefanya our generation, not speaking for everyone, just the people I've interacted with and like what we're saying now, hiyo judgment, it's just, I mean, I thought tumekuja kanisa. Of course, a grown up knows huwezi kuja kanisa uko umevaa vile unataka.
Yeah.
So even the other, when the lady was approaching you, I'm sure it's not that you are indecent.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just not to par with her expectations
how
she would dress up, you know.
Yeah.
But then the second that is brought up in such a unakosea Mungu, it becomes such a okay, but sioni nimekosea anywhere, but then you can't, then there's that judgment of unauliza kanisa maswali, una question uogopi lana. So I think
so me I don't support such.
Me too.
Because I think kama nimejileta, I know what I'm coming to for. Actually, hiyo kanisa sijui mtu. Because this lady mwenye alisimama, tena na mwenye aliniongelesha, mwenye alisimama akiongea nao generally for the church, she's like, oh, remember when you're coming to church, you're not coming to show anyone. I'm like, yo, I don't even know anyone in this church. I don't care.
I feel like they are putting more effort into kuonyeshana than even wewe akili yako hata haiko huko.
I
only thought about because they mentioned it.
Me, I don't care about anybody. I'm just here. The mass itaisha hivi. I won't talk to anyone. I'll head home.
The only place utaongea ni ile ya peace. Peace. That's it.
And I don't care.
Yeah.
So I feel like we are misunderstood.
I think it takes away from after the next Sunday utakuwa ulikuwa umesema hii mwezi nitakuwa consistent for a start, nitakuwa the next Sunday you'll just be like sasa nianze kufikiria everything because genuinely I know si ati ulikuwa umevaa indecent, hiyo niko sure. So the second that somebody makes it, you'll now start basing your going to church based on nimevaa aje, and the whole time you're so self-conscious, am I okay, ninakosea nani nina, and then coming from the church from back home where nobody asks you, sasa you're like okay, hata iri tu ningeenda basi
kwetu, ama kama siendi huko wacha nikae kwa nyumba. Because so that is another aspect of faith. Like we are going to church, some of us, or like this generation of ours, like there's a part that knows you're going to church because you want an interaction with God as a person, but then the world thinks you're there because of them. The world is hawa watu wazee wa mama wazee. So like how do you keep yourself sane amidst all these things and ensure that you're straight, like, you know, evil?
I think remember that faith is not this, I'll just put it, faith is not he interaction, it's he interaction. Just remember that it's hivi kupanda between you and God. Achana na side shows. Try and remember that hizi zingine zote ni mehemehe. Just remember me and God tuko vizuri. Maybe because then there's also this narrative, I think I was listening to a podcast some time back, this narrative of the best people in church, huyo mtu amekaa hapo mbele, please clergy, don't come for my neck. But mtu amekaa hapo mbele ndio utapatana na yeye on a Tuesday being so unkind to somebody else. And I thought, at least for me, my understanding is Christianity is not kanisa, nimepeleka sadaka, nimepeleka tithe. It is nimeenda nimefunzwa teachings. Am I practicing them at home? That is what matters. Because the second we get into this judgment game, it takes away from the entire experience of we're supposed to be following the example of Christ. Unless you're Christ, please quit being deputy Jesus. Let us all follow Yesu. Mtu, there's a part I was listening to somebody saying, ukienda mbinguni utafunguliwa kitabu yako peke yako. What your hands did, what your face did, what your head did, what was done by your own person, not everyone around. Doesn't mean that mtu akipita mipaka, you won't try and bring them back, but to the extent of, I think the problem is self-righteousness. I think too many people are self-righteous. A good person looks like this. When we meet with you outside, it's
you're the worst.
Ulikuwa unasikiza priest tukiwa Sunday ama nilikuwa peke yangu hiyo kanisa. So I think the judgment, that's one thing, and it's not just our generation, it's a story that has been going on forever. Unfortunately, people who are so ingrained into church at times are also the most self-righteous, the most judgmental. It's never correction here. You know how you can have relatives who correct you, or somebody, a friend who corrects you for your good, but kuna mwenye ana correct ndio I feel poor about themselves.
Yeah.
Somehow them telling you that you are doing a wrong thing reflects for in their own psyche, they believe it makes them feel better about themselves. If you're going to correct somebody, let it be because of a better experience for them with God, not so that you now are self-righteous, you're a better person, you're a better Christian. Let it be for the better good.
Because I was telling myself now, when I moved to the other state, I'm telling myself, Sasa, this lady, the whole mass, she hasn't even had anything.
Aja concentrate.
She hasn't even had
anawashwa na ule msichana mmoja kwa pale mbele.
Ati hiyo dress ya miguu amechange venye alikuwa amekaa.
Huyu amekuja kutempt priest.
Huyu
hawa ndio tunakaa.
You see, like, so kubeba preaching home. Home yake alikuwa na huyo msichana. Okay. Oh, it's a whole
it's controversial, but then again I think it comes down to wewe enda chenye imekupeleka you do chenye imekupeleka wengine hata mtu akisema atakuja keti hapo na asipiga makosa asifanye kitu wewe umefanya yako kama the whole time, like you're saying did you even consent, did you get mtu akiweza kuuliza hiyo mass ulisikia nini enyewe akikusema kweli kuna you want to go and tell God if your judgment day yako itajajiwa na hiyo mass ya hiyo siku specific hautasema uko concentrate kuna kasichana fulani akikalikuwa you went there for your own.
Huyo msichana alikuwa kwa Yesu. She was like deep. Exactly. But so, I get so all the same, we just learned that just calculate a personal relationship. Just like I say, now that I'm like this old is when I'm questioning some of my beliefs, because we have grown up in the church in terms of nobody used to take me to church. I would genuinely, as a person, want to go to church. My mom wouldn't even go to church, but atakupea sadaka, na mimi I'll wake up on time. I know what time mass starts, and I'll go to church alone. So bila kuambiwa. So I can't say that mimi I've grown. You see the way guys say mimi nilifosiwa. It was a must for us as a family to go. Mimi I can't say that. I used to take myself willingly to the church and just come back. I don't know if I've ever told anybody this story, but there was a time I niko sure nataka kusema nitasema. There was a time I used to, like, when growing up, I think probably since I was born up to probably class 5, that would be 2011 12 hapo I used to have a bad S, like S, my S were never S.
The Kikuyu in you was Kikuyuing.
Not even Kikuyu. This was worse, I think. It was literally it was as like, just a minute, sorry. It was just a minute. Let me disconnect the two.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
So, when like I was in class 5, my S was not an S. It was a you can imagine naitwa nani? Naitwa nani mimi?
Dorith.
Sasa yeke critical.
Dorith.
You were so it was hard for me. Yeah. It was hard for me. Then like I would find myself in spaces with people. Like it was just hard for me. It was hard for me. So you remember as a girl, how am I? Church-wise, I go because I want. I don't know if I had a personal relationship with God that I just used to go to church. But one day I woke up and told God, Mungu, you know what? Me, I don't want this. Me, I can't do this. Me, I can't have this as a person. Just do something. I made a serious prayer. Like a serious prayer. Then, mimi nimeendelea na maisha. So you know the way you pray, but
inakutoka unasahau.
Unasahau. One day I wake up, I'm like, sasa Doris, poa. Sasa, poa sana. Hiyo sana iko sawa.
Ukafanya double take, huh?
Like, I think for me, that is probably the time I would say I now started seeing the real thing, the real deal of faith.
Nimeomba ika happen.
I would tell people, I even told my mom, I'm not sure whether my mom ever believed me, but me, I told her, mom, may I prayed to God and this thingy ended. Sometimes wanaweza associate na medical, but si medical. Si kuna watu wenye ni wazee na wanaongea hivyo bado. But yangu just ended. So I think it's the heart.
I think that was your affirmation of ni ukweli. It works. I think there was a time I was reading questions, I think on Pinterest, and we were asking, and I think I'll ask you this question. We were a couple of friends and we were asking, what is one thing that happened in the Bible that you wish you were present for and that truly affirms for you that God is real?
One thing.
Yeah, one occasion, one event that happened in the Bible.
The woman who stopped bleeding.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. 12 years. Just the cloth. That's it.
Like,
and it's because she believed
it. You see, you have to be the beginning. I think now it can't come from without.
Yeah. It has to come from within.
Yeah. I think that is the thing with affirmations, belief systems, and manifestations. Yeah. Actually, that story makes sense in this essence.
Yeah, because for me, when I was asked that question, I said the ascension of Jesus into heaven. Because for me, what it stood for is, remember at the beginning, I said, this guy had no business. He didn't have to, like me. As if I was him, those people who I know will beat me, will not appreciate what I'm going to do for them. But then at the end, him having come and done his job and going back up, I think it would really have, if I would have been there, I would have been left with my jaw on the floor. Yeah. It would have really affirmed for me that now we've been given the tools. Now do with them what you shall. Actually, that was the reading as today as we it's Sunday. Yeah, so the reading the reading was something about the vineyard. I went to the Swahili mass, so I'll have to translate the vineyard and how you should be a good fruit in the farm of Christ. So I think being able to know that alituachia the tools. Now what are you doing with being good on ground sasa? Because even in life, you go to school, but don't go to school forever. Now what you've learned, go and take it and use it. I think that's the lesson
you've carried home. I think I'll revisit the readings. Ironically, okay, let me not sure how to say this, but of late I'm enjoying those readings because for now I'm stuck with the one that they said that not last Sunday, but one. They were saying that there are guys who went to the farm. So the first guy went at 7 a.m. Like an owner of a farm was looking for guys to go and work in his farm. So the first person was taken up at 7. The other one, akatoka, he went out again at 10. He found another person. Then another one at 1 found another person. Then he stayed. Then uko majioni 7, he walks. Let's assume 5. He walks. He also find another one. So see, these guys will all finish work at the same time. So imagine all of them were paid the same amount. So the ones who went early were complaining that mbona umetulipa sisi moja, sisi wote same na tumeshinda hapa. But then thinking of it critically, the kingdom of God is like that. You might be a late bloomer. You think that, wow, I'm now 30. Will I ever figure out these things? Because you've seen others as young as 23, as young as 18.
As young as 16, 15.
Yeah, figure out life. You literally see someone living the life you want, but they are 10 years younger than you. And then you're worried. You want now to fill your heart with jealousy, feeling like, this is not fair. Why them?
It's not like I'm not putting in the work.
Yeah. But the kingdom of God is like that. It doesn't matter what time you enter the garden. He'll all unajua, when we read 1 denarii. 1 denarii inaweza kuwa si 1. Ni summary ya blessings za Mungu. So when you take it literally, itakuuma. Because tunapewa aje 1 sisi wote. But inamaanisha he is same to all of us across board. Regardless, are you 30? Are you 23? Just when you believe, I'm going to seek you, and please God, unaona kama the woman, it had to start with her. Like when she believed she could heal by touching, she healed. So the moment you decide to believe, you get all that.
But because it's not like somebody told her, "Ebu try, go and go and try."
Nobody.
She believed that will be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. Actually, she just believed for herself that it will be enough. Because maybe okay, me ningesema labda nafaa niende nimsalimie, we have a whole conversation, I give him the story of my life. Her, she just decided, just hiyo nguo amevaa nikiguza tu ni hivyo.
Nitapona.
Yeah.
And
I think that is the essence of belief. It has to be so ingrained, it's so deep in you, nothing can and that is what I aspire to. I aspire to that kind of faith yenye unshakable. You know that just in yangu, like God is for me. It's not that now I don't believe God is for me, but ile yenye it's there's the feeling and there's just the living of it.
Yeah.
Like every move, the way you move, the way you talk, the way you live, you just know that, imagine that guy has my back.
Yeah.
Like I know it, but then I want to get to that point where I don't have to even remind myself. I just know innately that imagine I'm good.
Yeah. And I think like that is like what now I'm telling myself I want to aspire to do and to live like, just like you're saying. I've tried, but I'm getting somewhere. I'm not yet there, but I can say like these days na operate na grace za Mungu. Na operate na grace za Mungu.
Una move nika unajua kigari.
Like I look like I know where I'm going, but unajua nikiamka najiambia nini? God, itabidi hii tufanye.
Inayocheza tu
cheza kama wewe.
Hii siko sure nayo, lakini do your thing.
Do your thing, yeah. And it works. So that is it faith wise, but then I want now to understand like the things. What are the probably top 3 affirmations you give yourself are stuck in your heart? They don't have to be things you say every day, but what are these top 3
the things that I believe in?
Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
I think one is I'm enough. I'm enough for whatever. You know that thing you grew up being told. It's such a cliche thing, but it's so true. God cannot give you kitu huwezani nayo. Now, in terms of moving through life, I'm enough for whatever I'm supposed to do in the next 20 years, or in the next 10, or tomorrow, this evening. I am enough for that task because he'll give me the grace. He has already given me the grace. 2 is I will get there. Wherever there is. At times you don't even know. Like what you're saying. At times you just like, hey, me aki sijui, siko sure ni wapi. Okay, maybe niko na idea. But at times you don't even have the idea. But you know that there's something you aspire to. So I think for me, I've had to remind myself, I'll get there. Wherever there is. Whatever sphere or aspect of my life it is, I'll get there. Bora I do everything I'm supposed to do, I will get there. And I think those are the main 2, but maybe if we were to add a last one is, I don't know if it's an affirmation or just an aspiration. Let me tell you, there are times I struggle with praying and I just go to God, and this is the only thing I usually tell him. Look at my heart, my mind, and my soul, and help me to be the best person I can be for everyone in my life. I fail a lot at it, but I try. I think for me, it's to always keep trying to be the best person you are. The best daughter, the best child, the best friend. We fail at it a lot, but try always to be the best person you can be. Because like you were saying, it's not enough that we read the Bible, we learn the teachings in school, at church, or wherever it is that you get your faith from. Practice it. Utaanguka mara nyingi, lakini did you ever let the ball stop and say, ni hivyo sasa, hii faith thing imekataa. See, must. I think to keep trying. Whatever sphere in my life it is, keep trying. Yeah. I have an aunt of mine who tells us that imekata, go back to the drawing board. No matter how many times you have to go back to the drawing board, go back. Mpaka ufike wherever it is that you want to go. Go back to the drawing board every time. And don't feel like you failed. Hii drawing board bana hata si imejaa. Labda tuanze kufuta tuanze tena. But go back to the drawing board until ile siku utafika wherever there is. And even when you get there, don't be complacent. Don't be comfortable. Now what is the next there?
Yeah. I think for me, I live by God is always there for you as long as you're willing to reach out for him. He's always there, like just waiting for you to ask him, like, baby girl, what do you want? I also believe that you deserve all that.
That's a good one.
You deserve all that. You know, at times it gets hard and you're like, mbona mi nipate hii,
Self-sabotage.
mbona
Am
mi
I really
nipate
deserving?
yeah, like you're like ama mimi nafaa nipewe 5000 pekee au wengine ndo wapewe 10.
Ule anakanikana deserve 15. Ai, mi acha tukua ametu hapa 7.
To a point, I've gotten to a point where if you're not reaching the standard I feel like I own, ni sawa tu, haina shida, just wacha tuachane nayo entirely. Even in now contracts, like I feel
You're the price.
okay, wacha nisiseme hivyo sana, but for example, you know, partner A, person A comes, they bargain for 100k. I come, I hurumia you, bargain for 50 Gs. Then next time partner B now wants probably 3/4 of that. Now you want me to give me 5,000 and partner B is now at 70. I've gotten to a point where I'm saying ni sawa, wacha tuachane nayo
Yangu
totally.
itakuja.
Si must, sisikii vibaya.
And I think there's a beauty to living life like that. Because unaacha kukuwa na extreme pressure, especially at an age where you feel like I celebrated my birthday like 2 months ago, and I remember saying my one wish is to remind myself that imagine life is not going anywhere, it's still here, it's time haiishi. To remember time haiishi. So like you're saying, kama una feel hii, it's not sipewi as much as I deserve, and it's not from a point of pride or prejudice.
Yes.
It's just from a point of knowing that you're deserving, like you said. I think that's a good way to live life. What would be your third one? Those were two.
My third one would be that, Doris, calm down, you'll figure it out.
That's a good one.
Doris, calm down, you'll figure it out.
Si lazima kuwa na script yote sahi.
Don't usikose kufanyia kazi. Don't like, also probably I have 4, because I also believe, I've also now learned to believe that don't lag. Usikubali watu wakwambia you're doing too much. You're not doing too much.
You have the grace and capacity
You
to do it all.
Yeah. You're not doing too much.
Actually, there's a question you asked me, but I didn't ask you back. You said, you asked me about planning or winging. What do you live by?
Both. Because I plan in terms of, I think, like, I'm sure I want to do this and this and this, but I'll wing them because sitafuata hivi. Mi niko hivi, lakini end goal ni hapa. Tuende hivi, to wing.
Bora tufike.
In fact, sidhani kama nishaienda hivi.
I want to learn that. I want to learn to forgive myself for the times when nilikuwa nataka kwenda hivi and then haikugo, and then I'm like, I felt so badly. But I think bora ufike. I think at the end of the day.
Yeah, bora ufike, regardless. Bora ufike. So you deserve all that. Doris, calm down. You'll figure it out. And you enough. Kama yako, mimi atanataka kuburu, you enough. Like, no sikubali watu wame, you're not doing too much. Ati you're doing too much. You're not doing too much. Kama uko na capability ya kufanya hizo, kumaanisha God amekupa hiyo grace ya kufanya. In fact, if you do less than what you're doing, and you're doing a disservice. Yes, you're doing a disservice to what God has given you and to what you deserve. Yeah. So that, for me, is it for belief, manifestations, and affirmations. I would love you to give a summary of a parting shot of all that. Of everything. Yes.
I think I love what I've gotten from you on deserving all that, because I struggle with self-sabotage. I'm just like, I don't have enough of what I need to get there. Am I really enough? Hata zile skills niko nazo zimefika. But am I at 0? No. I actually have skills that I can build up to kufika to the next thing, or whatever it is that I think of as the ultimate goal or destination. So I think to remember, it's not the easiest thing, but to remember you're deserving of all of it, and to stop second guessing myself. I really want to stop. Hata sasa we are living it in 2023, because that would mean that the next 3 months naendelea na self-sabotage. But I think to just move like I've already won.
Yeah.
Ni move ni kama nisha win chenye nataka kuwin. So I think that's what I would take away from this. Move like you're winning. Move like you've won.
Move like you've won.
Yeah, move like, because at the end of the day, we are told that he's already fought those battles.
Yeah.
That's why we are told Mungu hakufuati nyuma.
Mm.
He's already gone ahead of you. So
Yeah.
move like you. I'll move like I have already won
Mhm.
the battle, the war,
Mhm.
and
to
then
be
I'll get
fearless,
there.
I
Yeah, to
think.
be fearless.
Yeah. Because I'm getting now this is something I'm learning. This is something I can't say I'm doing. Okay, I'm doing because I'm learning. I'm in the way. But I've learned to like calm down. Nothing is going to get wrong. You know, kuna kwanga, there's that aspect where you ask yourself, what if?
And then at times you find the what ifs ndio zimekuwa nyingi kuliko the they will.
What if hii glass yanguke? What if sasa staki
Ni
hiyo.
hata ikianguka ni sawa, utamove. You will
Nita-
pick up.
nitaokota
Exactly.
niendelee. Lakini I'm now removing the what ifs from me.
Don't anticipate.
Okay. Yeah. I'm removing the ati what if ifanyike? What if
I personally need to learn that. I need to learn the imagine it will be fine.
Imagine
just do it. You'll be
just do
fine.
it. Yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah, but that is it for this episode. I feel like bado uko na parting shot ungetaka kutupatia. Wewe umetuambia what
I've learned.
Yeah, but now give us a parting shot as a view of yourself for the episode, like to finalize.
I think my parting shot would be the time is coming when you will get to that place you think of as the ultimatum, as nimefika sasa. But it will never be enough. It will never be hautaifika one place in life where that's it. Okay, sasa nivo tukafunge, God just come get me, we go. So give yourself, not just, this is not me just saying as a party, but even telling you and trying to remember that, give myself grace. That imagine hiyo yenye unaona ikiwa the biggest thing. Even before we started, the shoot, you were talking about something and you were saying how one time something looks like it's the biggest thing, and then there's a time 10 years from now we'll be looking at it like, that was what I used to think was such a huge thing, and now you have such other bigger things that you're thinking, Jesus. But then to remember that the ile yenye ulifanya na ukamake na ukafanya even greater things, utamake into even bigger things. So just give yourself grace. You'll get wherever there is. Utafika. So wherever there is, nitafika. I have enough. I am enough. I'll get there.
Wow. I am enough. I have enough. I'll get there. Yeah, but my parting shot will be that God is there for us. He's just waiting for you to tap into him, to invite him into your life. Just like the woman who believed and she was healed, you have to believe in your dreams for them to come to pass. And believing in your dreams looks like simple things such as manifesting. Manifesting looks like a very big word, like a big word, but I think manifesting is just believe. Because if you say I'm manifesting a house for myself, you're believing you can own a house.
You'll start working towards it because you already see it.
Yes. So just like the woman believed, like I'm sure she had already seen herself stop bleeding. She just needed to tap God. So you just need to work and this will come to pass. So for me, if manifestations, please keep at them. Tap into God and keep your faith. Let it be personal to you. It doesn't have to make sense to us as the world. But does it make sense to you? Does it make sense to you and your God? And you'll be okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I live by that. Hold me accountable.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, that is the end of this episode. I've loved like having you.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've enjoyed.
Me too.
So, yeah. So guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. My name is Doris Wanyagia of It Pricked. It's a Rose. Until next time. Bye bye.